All right, I'm very happy and pleased to be here and what the audience to come to this event. Thank you very much for coming, and I'm very pleased and happy to be part of this forum. I'm going to present a tool that we have developed called MyQRA, which is very much linked to the QRA service we deliver in the DNVGL. QRA stands for the Quantitative Risk Assessment Studies. But before we get to that, I would like just to introduce myself very briefly. My name is Koheila Molazemi, and I am currently the last 4 years working from Norway, the DNVGL Oslo office, as the Global Service Area Director for Risk Management Advisory Services. And I'm also running a program called Safety Digital Transformation Program, which my focus in that program is purely to look into how we can basically digitally transform our safety services to make it more efficient and added value for our customers. So that's my current role, and I have been with DNVGL for the last 15 years. I've worked for almost 10 years in Middle East. I was responsible for the risk management advisory for Middle East and India, and the last for 5 years I've been working from Norway, responsible globally for the safety and risk advisory services. I am sorry that I have to speak in English. I unfortunately cannot speak in Korean, but please feel free to stop me if you think I'm going too fast or you need to clarify anything. I guess Ms. Aram can also help to translate if needed. All right, so just to kind of set the scene and explain a little bit what is the oil and gas industry challenges that we are facing these days is, of course, there's a time of change for the industry, and these changes presents both opportunities as well as challenges. So there's a lot of focus on the cost reduction. Obviously, we need to become more efficient in the industry and to be able to reduce the costs. There is a lot of attention to the risk assessment. Companies cannot afford to have any major accidents, like what happened 2 weeks ago in China, for example. That's something that we cannot necessarily afford to have. And then it's also a lot of new technologies that are becoming more available and less expensive for us to be able to use to become better in the oil and gas industry. So just this is to kind of set the scene. And when it comes to the safety studies, of course, as you know, I guess you are coming from the operators and as well as the EPC contractors. And in this type of industry, obviously, we do a lot of safety services or studies, both in the CapEx and the OpEx phase during the whole life cycle of the asset. You might be familiar with some of these studies, but this is more a global representative of what services and studies are usually done in the safety area. So things like HAZOP studies, the quantitative risk studies, QRA, the safety case, COMA, it's called sometimes COMA, sometimes safety case, and it's also some of the fire and explosion studies and the emergency response, etc., etc. One of the challenges that we have seen with the customers in this type of studies is that, some during the CapEx projects, during the projects when the asset is being built, the companies are doing some of these studies. They sometimes are done in pockets and not necessarily holistically done or integrated. So the data that is created in those studies are left and remain in silos. So it's not available throughout the whole life cycle of the asset and with all different type of stakeholders. So when the operators take over the asset from the EPC contractor, for example, they take over some of these studies, but not necessarily everything in a holistic, integrated way to be able to then unlock the value from the data created from these studies. So that's one of the also challenges that we have seen in the oil and gas industry, and we in the DNVGL trying to see how we can address some of those challenges. But before I go to my next slide, which is basically dealing with the CapEx and OpEx challenges, I would like to just ask a question to the audience. Can I maybe ask how many of you are coming from an EPC contractor type of company? If you just can raise your hand, if you are from EPC. Yeah? Okay, very good. And how many of you from the operating company? Okay, yeah. And the rest, I assume, are kind of a mix. Okay, very good. Just to get a feeling of how many are from different. So some of the challenges when we talk to EPC contractors like yourself and let's say some of the other like Technip, for example, Technip FMC or Aker Solutions in Norway, or let's say Petrofac in UK, some of the challenges they have raised is that they know that they're spending money and a lot of time to do the QRA studies. But these QRA studies results are coming too late in the design process to really add value to the design, to optimize the design. They are usually used to just validate the design, to say, okay, this design is okay. But it doesn't necessarily provide adequate input to the design itself to know, okay, what is to the optimize the design that they can go for, not to underestimate the risk, but not also to overestimate the risk. So that's one of the challenges they have raised. It's also that when you are basically designing a facility, there are a lot of back and forth in the design. And you would like to know, okay, if you have done a QRA for certain specifications and design parameters, but you want to change those parameters, what is the impact of that change on the risk, overall risk? And you want to do it quickly, you want to do it fast. You don't want to wait for another 3 weeks or 3 months to get these results out. So that's another challenge that we are trying to address during or through the MyQRA. And another problem that we have heard from our customers is that the QRA studies are complicated. And I don't know how many of you are QRA experts. I am certainly not. So, looking into, let's say, PLL, LSIR, FN curve, and all those abbreviations and what the 10 to minus 4 means for this and that number and parameters, it is complicated and it is difficult for a non-QRA expert to understand how they can use the results in a day-to-day design and operation. So it was also a challenge to see how we can simplify and make it easier for customers to be able to use the QRA results. And of course, it's also very important because it creates a lot of data, a lot of scenarios, but not all of that information generated through a QRA study is basically reported in a report that you receive from a company like us. So then you get a report of 200-300 pages, but I guess the QRA results usually create a lot of much more valuable data that is sitting with us in our models. Then the question will, how we can make it available for customers so they can have access to everything that has been created, and they can use that data as a decision support basically in their day-to-day operations. And then when it comes to operations, it is the challenge with the operations is that, of course, the QRA has to be updated, and then how different companies and different countries have regulations for updating QRA. Some do it every 3 years. Some others do it every 5 years. Some, when they have a big modification or projects, they need to update the QRA sometimes. If you have a major accident, you need to do a QRA. But these updates take time. It is not easy to update the QRA studies. So the question is how we can make it faster for them. And then, of course, the other challenge, which I think you perhaps can, if you have seen a QRA report, is usually the studies a snapshot of the time, which means that we kind of assume certain parameters and certain specifications of the operations, and then we run the model with that. And in operations, of course, things change, right? The different parameters, the pressure, temperature, the fluid, etc. change. Is there any way that we can basically have a QRA study, a safety study, where can reflect some of those changes that are happening in operations in a way that you will have a more near real kind of a risk assessment available to the operators and not just a snapshot of whatever was assumed at the time that the study was done. So that's, of course, some of the challenges that we are trying to address when it comes to the QRA studies for OPEX phase. And then risk communication is again same. It is difficult for non-QRA experts to basically understand the QRA results. So how we can make it simpler for them, make it available and accessible so that it can be used more often in the operations. I hope I'm not going too fast. So I guess the kind of a very basic fundamental aspect of our business in the oil and gas industry is that we want to avoid the kind of accidents like this, that people basically are killed and the assets are damaged and the managers and senior managers are basically get detained and a lot of environmental issues as well. So the ultimate reason for us to be able to do this safety studies is to help our customers both in operations and also design to kind of avoid such situation like this and make sure that their reputation, their financial and their operations are not affected by this. So basically the whole thing at the end, the ultimate goal is to kind of avoid a major accident hazards. So MyQRA is basically a tool that is uniquely available with DNVGL, and we offer this since 2017 to our customers. It can be accessed from our website. I will come to that, how you can get started and get access to it as a free access at the beginning when you want to just have a look at what the functionalities, etc. So what we have tried to do is basically to make the QRA results available centrally that the customers can have access from anywhere, and then also use some of the new technologies to make it easier to understand. So basically, instead of receiving a 200-page or 700-page report, you will receive a dashboard that is very intuitive and interactive. You can drill down and up to get the results, to look into the scenarios, etc. So it helps the communication part of the accessing the results. And also, once you basically are able to understand, the non-QRA experts are it's easier for them to understand the results. We have also tried to develop 3D visuals. So basically, if you have a FPSO, or if you have FSRU or a gas plant or refinery, we are basically able to then have a semi-advanced 3D visuals with the QRA results kind of displayed on, so you can see the risk contours and the consequence contours on the 3D visuals. I will show you in a minute how it is and how it works. And then, of course, it's very interactive results, and you can actually drill down to the very specific scenarios that you are interested to look into. So if you want to know, for example, what happens in the living quarter, or what's the risk for this and that unit particularly, etc., you can get access to everything in one central place. And of course, what is also part of the work that I'm doing under MyQRA is to make this service more efficiently done, because traditionally there are a lot of manual work involved in doing a QRA study, and we're trying to also look into what part of those steps of the doing QRA we can digitalize. And by digitalizing it, we can make it more efficient, but also we can make it more consistent, so that regardless of if I do the work or RM does the work or one of you does the work, it will come with the same results, and it's very, in terms of the quality and consistency, there is an improvement there. And then it's also that by doing this, we are making all the data available to the stakeholders and throughout the project. So if you have an EPC contractor doing a QRA for you, you can actually also see that QRA results right away in the same place and the same portal as they have access, and then it will be handed over to operators, and then it can be also updated much more faster and easier. So that's some of the work we have done. Just to kind of maybe drill down a bit to how this is being done. I don't know how familiar you are with the QRA process. Any QRA experts in the group? Anyone who does QRA or review QRA studies? If you can, maybe raise your hand. All right, very good. So you can help me maybe in the... So this is the process. Basically, we collect the data, and then we process the data. So we receive data from you, like the PNIDs, the drawings, some of the specifications on the pressure, temperature, the type of fluid that you have in the facility. And then we process that data. We do a lot of manual work there to process the data. And then we kind of feed that into the QRA model. That are the software tools that we have in DNVGL using, for onshore and offshore. So basically, that's then we do the modeling and analysis there. And then once the modeling is done, then we basically get the results. We do a lot of result processing also manually. So we receive, and then we have to then do some compilation and some manual calculation, etc. And then we submit a report. So what I have been doing over the last 2 years to look into what can we do to automate and digitalize part of this process. So in that sense, basically, this is the baseline QRA, and these are the tools that we have developed under MyQRA to either automate or offer digital services to our customers. So just to highlight, this is the easy data entry. There's a portal we have developed for both onshore and offshore QRA. When we receive a QRA inquiry from a customer, a contract from customer, and we have to do it, that portal is basically collecting, the customers can go there, then they can update the information themselves, and they upload the documents and drawings, etc. This way would help us to also make sure that we have all the input data in a same place that the customer can access. And of course, there will be some data processing done there as well. When, for example, there is a, let's say, a drop object study or a ship collision, part of the offshore QRA, or if it is H2S calculations, etc. There are some calculations are happening. As soon as you enter the data, there are some simple calculations in the portal that will to process the information before we feed it into the model. We also have developed a tool called PNID Reader, and this is developed together with a university in Aberdeen called RGU, Robert Gordon University. And this is quite a complex problem that we are trying to solve. It basically is a deep learning image recognition tool. It's kind of artificial intelligence tool that is taking the symbols and then identify them. So once you do the PNID reader, you can do the part count automatically. So that's where we are trying to avoid some of those manual steps of the QRA work. And of course, once it does, we then use DNVGL in-house QRA software models to run the QRA. I don't know if you have heard about Safety onshore and offshore are DNVGL tools. And then we get the results. We have developed a tool called Kraken, and that is a result processing and automated reporting. So what it does is that instead of us and our engineers sitting and manually processing the data, basically the tool automatically generates the results and reports it on MyQRA automatically. And of course, there are some manual steps here and there. It's not fully automatic yet, but that's something that we are working on for the future. And then, of course, once we have the report, we call it the digital report and the 3D visuals. Then we also have developed some functionalities and features on MyQRA where the customers can change and alter some of the input parameters and run sensitivities. So let's say you have a gas plant or refinery, and you have done a QRA for it, and you have assumed certain manning, because more people on the site, the higher the risk is, right? And then you know that for a certain period in the future, you will have more people coming to the site for some maintenance, shutdown activities, etc. And you want to rerun the risk and see what does that mean. So some of these parameters are available to be altered for customers to access it online and then change it themselves and run the sensitivity. So today, if we don't have the MyQRA, it usually takes maybe, before you contact us, we send you an agreement, we sign the agreement, we get the results, and then we start working on the report, and then send it back to you. It may take 2 weeks, 1 week, sometimes 3 weeks. This can be done in a matter of seconds or minutes. So it's basically a kind of a almost digital service that is available for customers to use. But that is only available if you have the baseline QRA done, because you need to have the baseline data so that then you will alter it and then rerun sensitivities to understand what does that mean in terms of risk. I hope I'm not going too fast. It's okay? All right, so how you can access MyQRA? I guess you have heard about Veracity. Veracity is DNVGL platform for data and also for services. On Veracity, basically it's www.veracity.com. You have My Services, Marketplace, and My Data. And then if you go to Marketplace and you search for MyQRA, then you will fill in a kind of a very simple form with your name and email address, and then you will get access free of charge to MyQRA. So that's how you would then access basically the marketplace and the MyQRA page. And I will show you in a minute the demo as well, so you can see how it works. And then when you go to My Service, MyQRA, then if you click on MyQRA, then you will have access to this page, which has the project list about MyQRA. And then you also can provide feedback. In here, you share your ideas. If you have any feedback, any comments, any improvement areas, basically that's where you provide the comments. And then here you will see the list of the projects. Here is basically your view. When I look and log into MyQRA myself, I will see all list of the QRA projects that I have done for my customers. So basically, it's a customer name and their assets. And then if you click on the asset, you will have the report, etc. So that is how it works. And then we have also added a user guide, so external user guide. That can be accessed as well, so for customers to learn and know how they can use MyQRA. And when you click on, for example, let's say this is a demo. So obviously, we cannot show you the confidential customer information. So there are some demo versions that you can look into. So we have called it ABC Oil and Gas Company, and we have demo for onshore and offshore. And then here you will see the list of the projects. And the report here, this is the dashboard. It's a very interactive report that you can then look into the different parameters of the QRA. And if there are documents for that project, let's say the study basis or the report itself or any other documents that you want to save, it can also be saved in the same place. And then you can also see the sensitivities, for example. If you have access to the sensitivities, then you also, if you have run any sensitivities, you can see that report which is saved as well. Just want to highlight before we show you the demo, I just wanted to highlight that this is quite a secured environment. So it's basically a single source of one place that we have the data and the QRA results for a customer. And then depending, there is a very strict access management, both on Veracity, but also on MyQRA, that has been defined for us to make sure that we manage the access within each company as well. And it also follows the Information Security Management System, the standards ISO 27001. So just to show you some of the snapshots before we get into the demo. As you can see here, this is a kind of a risk results. So you see that if you go to the MyQRA page, the ABC Oil and Gas, this is a kind of a dashboard. You can see the 3D visuals, and then if you click on the LSIR or the PLL, you will see the PLL results or LSIR reports, etc. And the 3D visuals and some of the presentation of the risk results on the 3D visuals as well, which makes it easier for the people to understand. The people who are not QRA experts, they may not know what PLL or 10 to minus 4 is, but they all can relate to yellow, green, and orange and red. So they know if it is red is a high risk area. If it is green is a kind of a more safe, less risky area. And this is the dashboard, as you can see. So it could be that you will see the LSIR by scenarios or by the hazard outcomes, the 3D visuals, and the QRA report at the same time. As you can see, you can also filter. For example, if you want to have for different leak sizes or different area, you just are interested in a more specific area, you can click on that one and then get the reports. This means that anything and everything that is generated in a QRA study is being delivered and also maintained in this page for you. So you will have, instead of having 200 pages with part of the QRA results available, you have everything available to you, and you can actually use it more in your day-to-day decision activities. Just show you a video. Hopefully it will work.
At DNVGL, we believe that digitalization and smarter use of data can help bring down overheads while enhancing safety. We're investing up to 40% of our R&D and innovation budget on developing new solutions to support the industry's digital transformation. Our quantitative safety studies, or QRAs, are a great example. While QRA reports are static, offering certain information at a fixed point in time, they generate additional information that can be of significant added value to our customers. We've developed an online tool that harnesses this, unlocking the detailed information from QRA studies in ways not possible in a typical fixed report. The MyQRA tool is made up of interactive dashboards that allow you to view additional levels of detail in your risk results at no additional cost. Through filtering, drill-down functionalities, and 3D visualizations, MyQRA can help both technical and non-technical professionals to gain a better understanding of hazards and make day-to-day decisions more effectively. You can use the tool to consider multiple QRA versions side by side, aiding concept selection by allowing you to identify detailed trends or differences. You can also interrogate results for any potential scenario and benchmark multiple facilities. Information available through MyQRA is not time limited, so it can be used to support your decisions and communicate risk across the life cycle of your project or asset. It can also be accessed by all project stakeholders, helping to avoid disconnect between the parties involved. Information from our studies is always available and maintained through the MyQRA tool, making the cycle of updating QRA reports simpler and more cost-effective. If you use our QRA services, you can access MyQRA free of charge from our MyDNVGL customer portal. Go to my.dnvgl.com to register.
So back to the slides. Some of the other functionalities like the 3D visuals, of course, this is a bit older version. As I said, we have relatively quite advanced 3D visuals and presentation of the risk results on the 3D visuals for offshore facilities. And then you also can compare the QRA results and then look at it at the same time on the 3D. And as I mentioned, when the QRA is done, sometimes the parameters are changing, like manning or number of the equipments, or it could be that you want to check if the QRA, baseline QRA has considered certain wind direction, but then you want to change that and see what does that mean if during a period of time there are differences and you want to alter the results. How does that work? So once the baseline QRA is in MyQRA, then there's a new functionality called online sensitivities, where the customers then can access online. And then, for example, in this case, you can change the equipment. So the base case says there are the 2-inch flange is 1. You can change it to 3. And of course, more flanges is a more source of leak, right? Which means that there will be higher risk, for example. So that's on the equipment itself. Could be on the manning, so you can change the number of the people and the distribution in your facility, and that can be altered. It could be the wind direction that can be altered. And also the detection barriers. So if you have on the platform or the lower deck or middle deck, you have certain assumptions made and certain barriers, and you want to alter that, that can be done. You will receive the summary of what changes you have made, and then you click Run, and then you will see the baseline QRA and the sensitivity in comparison. And you'll see, okay, with the number of manning increased, what is the most changes and how much risk has changed or increased, for example. And that is something that now is available online, and the customers and the QRA experts, they can run it themselves. And it takes usually minutes to get it run, and you will receive the results in the same dashboard as I have shown you. And of course, some other changes, like as I said, in the manning, you can change that, and then the wind direction, and then you will get the results. I will just run this video as well. And that will show you the some features of the online sensitivity, so you can.
MyQRA is DNVGL's new online tool that harnesses detailed information from quantitative safety studies and unlocks it in ways not possible in a typical fixed QRA report. Through filtering, drill-down functionalities and 3D visualizations, MyQRA can help both technical and non-technical professionals to gain a better understanding of hazards and make day-to-day decisions more effectively. The tool also helps to improve risk communications across multiple stakeholders in a project or asset and at each stage of its life cycle. We've enhanced the functionality of our MyQRA portal to give users the option to conduct simple sensitivities. This new feature transforms the amount of time it takes for our customers to simulate the consequences of certain scenarios on an asset. A process that once took several weeks can now be conducted in a matter of minutes. So, if you have a study case, you could select it to evaluate a sensitivity. You could change a few key input elements to see the overall impact on the change in risk picture. In this example facility, a maintenance project may be taking place in an area when new equipment is being installed. So in this area, M71, we'll add some flanges and valves and remove some other flanges. We'll also make some changes to the manning, so we enter 4 people on the day shift in that area. And then perhaps some detectors are down in that area, so we can change their probability of failure. We see a summary of the changes made here on this screen, and we are now running the sensitivity. We then view the sensitivity results compared to the original study case. So we can now see the change to different risk metrics, such as leak frequency and PLL. We see the frequency has changed in area M71 since the new equipment numbers were added. And we also see the PLL in area M71 has changed, as that is where the population change was made. We see great opportunities to allow our customers to make simple changes and test cases such as these to evaluate operational issues or small changes in design.
All right, and of course, to get started, you can always log into the veracity.com and then add MyQRA, and then you can also see the demos and videos and more description, and also the user guide is available on the MyQRA page. Before we get into the demo, if there is any question or comments that you would like me to answer, but I just wanted to spend another 5-10 minutes to show you also live what you have been presented. So basically, on the veracity.com, here is where you can then go to the, if you have added already, you go to the My Services, and if you want to add it basically to a marketplace, and here you can then find the MyQRA. It's coming towards the end of the page. So these are some of the apps and digital services that we have available all on the Veracity. Yes. And here then you click on MyQRA. There will be, since I have already access, I will come to this page, and then you will basically either ask for a demo and request information or get access. And this is the page where you also will find some more information about the security and other aspects of the MyQRA and what it does, etc., etc. And then once you have it, if I go to My Services, if a customer already has access to MyQRA, then you go to My Services and you will have it in your list here. And then when you click on MyQRA here, so this is my view, because obviously I have access to everything, but you will see, if you don't have any QRA, you will only see the demo. Just to highlight, you can share your comments and feedback. If there are some specifications you would like us to work on and develop further, there's a voting system there as well. So if more customers vote on a kind of a development idea, it will come to the top of the list for us to focus and develop it further. The user guide can be accessed here. And then, of course, some more information about MyQRA. This is for me to manage the user access. So if, for example, you log in and access, it will come to me as an email, and then I will grant that access. And of course, as I would like to also highlight that there are different levels of access defined for customers as well. So for example, the QRA experts within the customer organization would have access to everything. And then you will have operation manager for different sites. They might only see their own sites. They also might be able to view the other QRA results from other sites if they are within the same company, but they may not be able to change or alter the results, etc., through the sensitivities. So there are different levels of access also defined and managed through this. And of course, the project setup and project list. So if I click, for example, here on this one, and I want to see the results, hopefully the internet connection works. You will see the dashboard and the 3D visuals, basically. And here is the, for example, this is the report, interactive report of the QRA results. So the leak frequency, the fire frequency, the PLL, and you have the fire results. You can click on this information. So this is the summary. And if you go to this one, you will see the 3D visuals and the report itself, which is very different, I would say, from a kind of a 700-page black and white hard copy reports that the customers usually get in a traditional QRA. And here you see, for example, the leak frequency by area and size, and then also leak frequency by scenarios. If I click here, you would be able to kind of rotate and see different views of your 3D visuals. You can also click and have a more specific drill down of the risk results, for example, on the dashboard as well. And then you also are able to click and filter different information. So these are different type of frequency reports, ignition probability, etc. And the personal risk, which we also try to redefine some of those terminologies that are not known to the non-QRA experts, like PLL, LSIR, etc. It doesn't mean anything to the non-QRA experts. So we try to simplify that and make it easier for people to understand. So then also here you will have the results. And if you also see the presentation of that, and it is interactive, so if I click and kind of hover my mouse on different part of the 3D, you will see the information also appearing. So let's go back to see an onshore example. And here, of course, all the documents that also generated or received can be maintained in the same place. So then you will have one location for your project where you have all the input data, all the output data, and all the documents in one place. It can be accessed online, and everyone that you have given access to within your company would have seen that. So it's not a report in someone's shelf, it's in one secured place. So just let's have a look at the onshore plant. Yeah. So when you upload it for the first time, it takes a few minutes because the data is quite heavy. And then obviously here, if I click on just to see. So we also have a map for the onshore facilities. There you can see the risk contours and the consequence contours displayed on the onshore facility. So this is basically the summary. Then you have the leak size report. You have the population report. This is the risk outcome. And then also, let's have a look at the LSIR. So LSIR stands for location-specific individual risk. And then here, as you can see, you can actually filter for difference. So if you are interested in a specific area in your facility to see the results, or if you are interested to kind of look into the small, medium, or large size leak sizes, or if you would like to kind of look into jet fire, for example, specifically, then the report get updated, and you will see what are the areas that are main contributor, and what are the scenarios that are main contributor, for example, to the jet fire. So it is far more interactive and intuitive for people to use the different results. And also I would like to show you something around the sensitivities, just to get a feel of, so if I look at the sensitivity test asset, here we have run, for example, for this particular asset, we have run several sensitivities, and you can click on, let's say, the base case and some of the other sensitivities and run a sensitivity and then compare the results. And as you can have as many sensitivities as you want. And just to maybe summarize it, that it is at the moment currently doing 5-parameter sensitivity. By the end of June this year, we are doing a cloud enablement that will be any parameters that you would like to alter can be altered. So it's not only these 5. So we started with 5, but we are doing it for more parameters for the offshore QRA, particularly because this is very relevant to offshore, and then we do it next development for the onshore QRA. These 5 parameters at the moment are available for offshore and few of them for onshore QRA. So it's basically the manning, it's about the equipment, the wind direction, detection system that you can run sensitivity for. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you very much.